bird. That a bird box is the word. I said a bird box is the word. I said a bird box is the word. It was really good, but no, it was trash.
Yeah.
I don't know how the rest of the song goes.
Is there more to that song?
No, I know it. I just don't know how like the rest of it goes. If there's any, the rest of it, really.
That's pretty much all I know.
I'm more of a rock lobster kind of guy.
Yes, agreed.
Well, welcome back to the Hateful Geeks. I am one of your many hosts, Phil.
This is Sweeney.
I'm Andy.
This is Tim.
And this week we are going to be reviewing the latest foray into Netflix's original content, BirdBox, starring Sandra Bullock and a bunch of people you don't care about.
There was the one guy from Constantine.
Sure.
That's a movie I haven't seen in like 10 years, but all right.
All right, never mind.
And of course you got there was John Malkovich.
Malkovich.
Yeah, sure, John Malkovich.
John Malkovich was awesome in this.
Yes, he was. All right.
Wait. He wasn't. We'll get into it. He's just an old asshole. But it's not
Awesome.
So he's John Malkovich?
yes.
Yeah, he's pretty much what he always does. He's John Malkovich.
He is what I aspire to be.
The same person everywhere.
Yeah.
You never want to change over 50 years of your career.
Oh,
Cool beans.
Love it.
Wow. So those of you who are listening who have tuned into our show before and enjoyed our Bright review, another Netflix original, we're gonna be we are keeping the format. Guess who didn't watch the movie?
Me.
That's Tim. Tim didn't watch the movie, so we're going to be educating Tim on the greatness. I'm doing air quotes. You can't see it. The air quote greatness of BirdBox.
BirdBox. Okay, so since I did not watch the movie, someone give me a quick rundown on the premise of it.
Please
Go for it.
Allow me. So it stars Sandra Bullock, who went to my high school, which is important to the plot. Anyway. So the point is Sandra Bullock is like the movie opens up and everything's pretty normal. She's a single woman who's pregnant. She's expecting. She has very little emotional attachment to her future baby. She calls it a condition. Her sister's like, "Aren't you happy?" And like, "No, I'm not. I don't give a shit. It's a baby. What do I care? This is a mistake."
I went to a sperm donor.
Pretty much. And like on the news, they're talking about how some shit's going down in Russia. That's like, and there's people going insane, killing themselves, and like that's in Russia. That's not our problem. Sounds like familiar.
Sounds like a commie problem.
Sounds like a bunch of trolls and fake accounts trying to affect our Facebook. Anyway,
Right.
So during like her routine sonogram, they're at the hospital. They see a woman who just starts smashing her face against the fucking window and just like opens her whole head up. It's a thing of pure beauty. Yeah, so it looks like whatever was in Russia is now over in America because, they're really not that far because you can see Russia from, Sarah Palin's house. That's good. They're driving through the streets. Her sister's driving, and then all of a sudden her sister goes catatonic and just literally tries to like veer the vehicle off. And it turns out that this is a mass epidemic in the world. Everyone is just out of nowhere just starting to try to kill themselves. Does that sound familiar to anybody? I'm pretty sure Shamalama Ding Dong did this plot.
The Happening.
The Happening.
Anything zombie related. Mom and Dad, which is a terrible movie starring Nicolas Cage. And
I've seen it. It's not good. Anyway, but that's the premise is like everyone just starts trying to kill themselves. And they're not trying to hurt other people. They're literally just self-harm. And nobody can really figure out in the first 10 minutes like what's going on. So Sandra Bullock, pregnant, sister tried to kill him. She survives the car accident. She wakes up and like this woman's like, "Come inside. She's hurt. You're pregnant." And everyone's rioting and just like killing themselves. And it's just a big bloodbath on the streets of suburbia. And then the woman's like, "Mama? Well, Mom, I haven't seen you in years." And then she kills herself. And then Sandra Bullock's like, "What the fuck is going on?" And then somebody's like, "Get in here." And it's John Malkovich and a bunch of assholes. 5 minutes in this movie, the random dude from Get Out.
Yeah.
It tells everybody that it's the best friend from Get Out, whose name I can't remember. He's a Canadian.
It's Lil Ray Howery.
Thank you very much. Yes. So he's there and he's like, "I read about this. I'm writing a novel." Like, "What do you do?" "I work at a grocery store." But I suddenly am the only person in the room who knows about these mythological, invisible demon creatures that make you like see your worst fear or the thing that makes you the saddest and makes you want to die. That is the premise of the film. It is fucking invisible demons that make you want to hurt yourself. And if you're already crazy, it's okay if you see them. You just want to worship them and make other people see them too. So like all the normal people who don't have psychopathologies are like, no, don't look anything. You can't see. Like, can you see when they're coming? Like, no, but when you see them, you go crazy and kill yourself, even through videotape, apparently. So it's basically it's the plot of The Happening mixed with like the fake ass version of the monsters from A Quiet Place.
Ooh.
So it's Sandra Bullock's like job to try to find a way to survive the invisible maniac demons and somehow like survive her pregnancy.
Yeah.
And,
So I mean, I guess we got through the first 10 minutes of the movie.
That's the first 10 minutes of the movie.
I mean, it was
Cool.
The premise really is there's these things out there that all of a sudden start essentially making people kill themselves.
Okay.
that's what I just said.
I know.
Why are you repeating me?
For shorter emphasis than what you just did for the first plot of the movie.
Tim, did you have trouble understanding my explanation?
No, but at least get Sweeney, let Sweeney get his thought out.
That's fine. I'm just saying, let's move along from plot and let's talk about how like all of our gripes about this movie as soon as possible, please.
We haven't even got to the whole plot.
Right. I mean,
know.
yeah.
Wait, you want an entire plot synopsis? Tim?
No. What I'm saying is, so he's right. Like, absolutely right. Something invisible is trying to pretty much make people kill themselves. Right.
Okay.
So then you go through this whole process of where, like you said, she gets into this house. There's a group of people to try and survive. They figure out that if you don't look at them, if you don't look at them, they don't do anything. And then they figure out like birds kind of like go crazy when the demon
Doesn't affect animals.
things are there.
Oh, okay.
So like they let's keep the birds. That's hence the name of the movie BirdBox. She literally keeps birds in a box and carries them around with her. So
do they sense them?
They sense them and start going
And
crazy.
they just start flapping around.
Okay.
So they know
like
they're
Danger close. Danger
yeah, they start like
Okay.
chirping really fast and
Okay.
really
It's the
flapping
same
around.
concept of the canary in a mine.
Right.
Yeah.
When there's a gas.
Yeah.
Same thing.
So that's the whole premise of the name of the movie. She carries his birds with her child. She had her child, and then she ends up actually adopting another woman's child.
Right.
So like that was in the house with them, and like pretty much like you said, there's this rare few people that cannot. They don't go like kill themselves. They go like, you need to see them. You need to see them. And they start forcing people to try to look at them, and they also like just kill them if they don't look. Right.
They say in dialogue that a bunch of people were roving around like robbing people and killing people and not hurting themselves, and they weren't wearing blindfolds, so they could see things and not hurt themselves. They came from the insane asylum. It's like it's in dialogue. They say,
So
"Oh,
people that
fucking
have
like
mental problems.
the nut house is good."
Them.
I'm sure a couple people up there like probably killed themselves, but for the vast majority of them who are like schizophrenic or like really off their rocker, they are like, yeah, these things are great. They're beautiful. You need to see them too. Take off your blindfold.
Right.
Before we get into what you guys hated, I want to get like a little bit of more of the plot, because from what Phil described, it's like the first like 10 minutes of the movie, because I know that the more of the story takes place 5 years later after what Phil had said. Is that right?
It does a really good job at jumping from current day, where she has the children and she's like protecting them and trying to save themselves. And then it'll jump back 5 years prior and kind of give you this lead up to what happens and what they do during the actual happening.
Okay.
Oh, you actually used the goddamn word, the happening? Sued. Calling it from Shyamalan.
Yeah, so it jumps back and forth a lot. So like the very intro to the movie is her talking to her children about like, I think you've probably seen the trailers about, hey, don't take your mind off. Listen to me. Follow me. Blah, blah, blah. Like that's the very intro to the movie. And then it jumps back 5 years.
Okay. Because in what I read up and tried not to spoil myself and stuff, I know that parts of it took place 5 years after the initial Armageddon begins.
It's a true mix. Like it literally, it's probably like maybe 10 minutes past, 10 minutes future, 10 minutes past, 10 minutes future. It jumps like back and forth very often.
So, like, what's in the present day? What are they trying to do in the present day?
She's got both kids. So you got her son that she had, and at the same time, when she was in the house, John Malkovich's house, there was a woman named Olympia who was also pregnant and just as far along as Sandra Bullock's character. Magically, somehow, the odds of that, who the fuck knows? But they're surviving together. They both go into labor, and the crazy person they mistakenly let into the house has decided to like betray them all and started removing their masks and pull down all the blinds and things blocking windows. So he's like, I'm going to make you all see while they're in labor. Everyone fucking dies at the end, except for Sandra Bullock. She takes both kids, and now 5 years later, she's trying to like make it down the river with the kids blindfolded to a an unknown, at the time, unknown location where it's safe.
Okay.
Where it's safe from the creatures or whatever, the entity, whatever the fuck they want to call it.
Demons.
Okay.
Whatever.
Now that we got both plots out of the way, what did you guys like and hate?
I guess we could start with positives and then take a dump later.
Yeah.
After you, Sweeney, you seem to actually, you seemed really, actually, you know what? Andy, you said you liked this movie.
I did like it.
Please, I'd like you to present your argument.
It might have been that I was in the mood to watch something like this, but I liked this movie is 90% of the time you're on that constant edge of something's going to happen. Somebody's going to die. Somebody's going to bash their head in. Something bad is going to happen. For 90% of the time you're watching this. And it does a really good job at conveying that. The music in the background always has that eerie something.
Something's coming.
Yeah.
Y'all gonna die.
They do a good job at that. And I was pleasantly surprised with the special effects. One of the biggest complaints, you never see the creatures. That's a lot of noise. To me,
man.
it was like that Jaws effect. You're not supposed to see, because every single person who sees them, they see their personal nightmares, their worst fears, their depression, their sadness. So I guess they could have done that. They could have shown you what people were seeing.
Well, and keep in mind too, so these are supposed to be supernatural creatures, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you don't see them, but you can hear them. They growl. You can hear them stomping around.
They mimic.
They cast shadows. So you see a lot of when they're there. There's
Did they cast shadows? I don't remember.
So you see,
I don't remember a shadow being cast.
Several times shadows.
When they're in the car.
When in the car, there's shadows. When
out the window.
At the window, there's shadows. So you literally see there's definitely a big shadow presence, right?
Right.
Mm.
The leaves
I'll have to
move.
rewatch. Oh God, I have to rewatch it now.
Yeah, the leaves will move. They're outside.
Okay.
Things will move, twist and wind and move.
So at least
give a
you always,
presence.
I was gonna say you always feel their presence. It sounds like
Absolutely know they're there. And again, they're also very audible. You hear growling, thumping, and then like you said, they mimic. So at a point towards the end of the movie, they're all in the woods and they're talking to her and people she knew before.
They were mimicking familiar voices saying, "Hey, take it off. Take off your blindfold. We're right here. Just take it off."
Creepy.
Yeah.
So they're very, like you said, you don't see them. Although if you do watch, there's a little cut scene that they released, the producers of the movie released to actually show what they look like.
Yeah, nobody's gotten their hands on the footage yet, though.
Yeah.
Right.
There was apparently one of her nightmares was failing as a mother. So the thing that she sees is this demonized giant baby coming at her.
Nice.
So the special effects are on images of it are on the Instagram page of the company that was hired to do that special effect. And they're it hit the cutting room floor. So
yeah. And then you also have the crazy people. We mentioned his name is Gary that comes in and if they think he's normal because obviously he's not killing himself. So they had no idea at that point that these things were
that he's crazy Gary.
He's immune to it.
Right. So and then he has a sketchbook. So he has all these drawings of demonic figures, and so you kind of get his perception of them.
What he sees.
Yeah, exactly.
All right. So it's kind of scarecrowy.
Kind of. Yeah. Very much so.
Times a million.
Yeah.
Right.
Except that, and it literally is. It makes them, everyone's so either the worst fear, their sadness, their whatever would drive you to kill yourself. Essentially, I mean,
and it does it 10 times. People just
instantaneously.
Instantaneously.
You don't go and listen to The Cure for 2 weeks and then
No,
think about it.
Pretty. Which there's a couple characters that are able to do something briefly before they finally kill themselves. So I was I thought this was instant.
No, most of them did something beforehand. Even his sister, she did drive.
The girl did give up the baby also.
Right, the girl had the baby. Her sister drove into another car, and when she realized it didn't happen, she started wandering away. It wasn't an instantaneous instant death. Even the woman in the hospital was just banging her head against the wall.
No, but I mean, she tried to.
Yeah, she was trying.
They're already trying to.
I think she was avoiding things, and then she happened to hit the car.
Yeah.
So I mean,
maybe.
Yeah, I mean, it's pretty insane, and you can tell when they see something, that they see it. Their eyes have a veiny like blue.
It's like a color change. It turns into like tesseracts and like
Their eyes
brown on the outside. Little bloodshot.
Mm-hmm. It's like blue bloodshot.
Like their irises just change. And
everything changes. Yeah.
So like all the crazy people running around with their eyes looking like that, and they're just like, it doesn't affect us. Humans are the real problem. You could have just had a blindfold.
I was mentioning the special effects. Her sister, when she sees it, she's driving, she wrecks the car. When she gets out and she's still alive, she walks out into traffic, turns around, looks at her and says, "I'm sorry," and gets hit by a garbage truck. And they don't pan away. So the special effects of her just getting blasted by this truck, it was like, oh shit.
So you said it sounds like that this has a lot of suspense in it.
Yeah.
How gory is it?
It's pretty gory for the first like half of it.
Yeah, there's some gore scenes, but it's not gore porn. It's not
it isn't over the top, right? So like she gets hit by a bus, she doesn't explode, just like you literally see her body get hit.
Just go.
A woman stabs herself in the neck with a pair of scissors. It's not like it sprays everywhere. You literally just see it.
That one was a little too much for me, I think. The scissors. I was like, okay.
That's so John Malkovich. That's another one of my likes of this movie. I loved John Malkovich's character. He is just straight asshole, straight. It's the end of the world. Fuck everyone else. This is my house, my rules. Like, fuck this.
He said they're making the apocalypse great again.
Yeah.
In the fucking supermarket.
But he was drunk. Like, he was drunk saying it.
Still.
So
grown.
He said it as like a joke.
There's all these people in his house. So they devise.
It's not really his house, but okay.
It was his Asian. I'm sorry, his
Asian
neighbor's house. So they're in this house and they need supplies. So they're like, we're going to paint the windows of the car and then use the GPS to drive to the grocery store that's real close.
That was funny.
This to me, it is funny. This is one of those, you have to suspend every single disbelief that you have to buy what is going to happen. So they're driving, following the GPS, and as they're driving, there's of course just corpses lining the streets because everyone just killed themselves.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like abandoned cars.
Oh, yeah.
Like the GPS is not going to.
Not only does it have GPS, it also magically has the sensors.
Magically, most cars have those these days. New cars.
I have not seen this.
No, a lot of cars have those. That's pretty normal.
I'm poor.
You got to remember that Andy yells at parked cars saying this is a neighborhood.
So
Andy's car still runs on Steam.
They use GPS and then they use the sensors of what is around them to try to navigate. But of course, they're just driving over corpses. So you hear the bones crunching.
I just want to watch it just for this scene.
Yeah. That was one part. That was the one part I was like, okay, that's not really going to work, but whatever. Yeah. Like that's not
and
how
of course,
it works.
they get to a point where there's like a truck out in the way. So they realize it. And as they're trying to navigate around this truck, the wind picks up, the shadows come over the car, like
the leaves start rustling.
Yeah, like everything, all the sensors on the car, they're now surrounded. So they gun it. He's just like, fuck it, guns it, comes flying into the parking lot of this this grocery store, and magically it's like, you are there, and all they have to do is get out blindfolded, and they're at the front door.
They did it.
Like, how convenient.
What?
Also, were they going to a grocery store?
A grocery store.
Yeah,
that hasn't been picked over?
Well,
no,
the guy
killed themselves.
Yeah. And this was instant. There was no time for looting and rioting.
That's true. That's true.
There's no such thing as rioting. Like everyone killed themselves.
Yeah, I know. I just always think of because it's the apocalypse. You always see the scenes of just people throwing stuff through glass windows and taking all the shit.
Yeah.
So the guy that worked at the grocery store, he's like, I locked up. I have the keys here. You guys go. And they're like, no, you're coming with us. So he was able to get them in. And while they're in there, John Malkovich is like, only half of them went. There's still another half back at the house. And they get there. Malkovich is just slamming booze immediately. And he says, we're not going back. Fuck them. Give me one reason why we should even trying to sacrifice ourselves to go back when we could just stay here. And they're like, because we're not an asshole, we're going back.
Right.
He's like, no.
So this was actually one of the few parts of the movie I actually really did like. So in the end of the grocery store scene, they're like, they got all their shit. They've convinced Malkovich they're going back. They hear someone like crying from like the meat locker, the fridge locker.
The loading dock locker.
The loading dock. Yeah, the loading dock area.
Yeah.
And the guy who used to work there, the guy who was like, I just magically know about these types of mythical creatures. The guy from Get Out. He's like, oh, I know who's back there. Is that Willie? I don't know. Is that Fat Bob back there doing?
It was Fish Fingers.
Fish Fingers Tommy or something like that.
Fish Fingers.
Yeah, the nickname he called him. He worked in the produce department.
Still,
they're like everyone picked on him because he's a little nuts. He's a little crazy.
Like, because he did some time apparently.
So he's outside right now with these creatures, but he's like, let me in.
No, yeah, and he opens the door and then pulls them in and takes their blindfold off, and then closes the door behind them and like traps one.
No, that's not what happened.
Yeah, he basically opens the door.
No. So yeah, he's trying to push the door open. He's pushing, and they can't. And he says something, and his friend says something's wrong. This isn't right. The birds are going crazy.
The birds are going nuts.
And then they try to push the door, and they can't. So the guy from Get Out says, "Fuck it," and he recharges Fish Finger Willie,
charges the crazy,
and knocks him out, so they can finally close the door. And then they hear a slice.
He sacrificed to himself.
They hear a slicing sound, and blood pours under the door. And I feel like, and then the guy starts knocking again. Let me in. So they're like, what the fuck? Like something's wrong. So that's when they leave.
Okay.
So it was like trapping them, like, because that's how badly he wanted people to like see the monster. He's just playing a fucking hunting game with them.
Right. Like, and these crazy people that all they ever keep saying is, you must see them. You have to see them. It's beautiful.
You need to see.
Yeah.
Like that right there, that was the truly evil thing.
Yeah,
in the movie for me, like we'll get to the negative shit in a minute, but to me, that was actually like something to be truly frightened of. Not you can blindfold and protect yourself from the crazy voices monsters,
and they don't come. Never once tried to break. They
don't go in the house.
They can't. When she's out walking through the woods, they can't cause any like physical harm to her if she doesn't look at them.
They're not.
They can talk to you. They can like try to like manipulate you to like look at them.
Yeah, right. They'll tempt you. But
they can never touch you or destroy or attack you in your sleep.
Or go in a house. I didn't understand that part.
So they can't break in.
I mean, one of the theories that I actually liked about the creatures was the reason why they're tempting you to do this and they can't physically touch you is that these are creatures from hell. So if they tempt you to take your own life, your soul is now like you're damned to hell.
Now
are they from hell? Are they from hell though?
Why are they trying to get people to commit suicide and they're not? Why don't they just kill them physically, like just end them? And
they're probably exist on some other like extra dimensional plane that can't physically interact.
I'm not saying traditional hell, just demonic, like some kind of evil creatures that are like, you have to kill yourself and then your soul is mine.
Okay. I mean, I felt like they were just like ripping off from H.P. Lovecraft in this case. Is like your sanity levels. That's what Call of Cthulhu is. It's all about like being exposed to some kind of extra supernatural force that makes you lose your fucking marbles.
Right.
You just go bonkers. So this was very much like a Cthulhu situation, but we never see the fucking monster. We never once get to see, like, even in fucking Stephen King's It, the creature that literally is your worst fear, it has a true form in the second part. Like, that's kind of like payoff. Like, I'll sit through like 99% of your movie. Give me that 1% where I get to see the monster, like an Alien, the first Alien, or in Jaws. Like, they still show it because you're still waiting for that payout. You're cool with the suspense. BirdBox never pays out.
Like Paranormal Activity, you never see the demons that are like
haunting
them.
Yeah, but those are like ghosts.
No, it's a demon.
Same fucking difference. Ghost. I don't care. Like, I think we're waxing semantics now. It's a supernatural spirit creature.
I didn't mind this one not showing. Like,
what they looked like or what they were was not what made them scary. I guess it didn't bother me.
But this wasn't a scary movie. Like, I didn't interpret it as a scary movie. Like, you know, I mean, I didn't really need a monster per se.
I mean, it's called a horror film, but yeah, I took it more as a suspense.
Look, they still had a physical presence in the world. They were rustling leaves. They cast shadows.
Yeah.
So they exist on some level.
Absolutely.
You could throw some fucking water on one or some mud or something. I don't know. Like, do something and give like a taste, give an idea, because that's kind of the cool thing about like the Cthulhu mythos and H.P. Lovecraft. he gives these horrors like form, and they're horrific. They're fucking mind-boggling, formless death creatures made of teeth and eyes. Like that's it.
Tentacles.
Yeah,
sure. There's a fuck ton of tentacles.
I think you're looking at it from like the H.P. Lovecraft point of view, where you want to see them, and some people are not looking at the same viewpoint, right? They may look at it as demons or as something else, like, you know what I mean. So I think your perception of the beast or the monster, which is fine, but you know what I mean, that may be different for somebody else.
Yes, but I never got into the paranormal activity movies.
Nobody in that entire planet saw the same thing. When their eyes gazed upon it, they didn't see a creature or a demon or a monster. Well, the crazy people apparently did.
Yeah, fucking.
And
they're the ones who see their true form.
You kind of got a hint of their form and his. But maybe that was what's beautiful to him, because every single crazy person was like, "Oh, you got to see this. It's beautiful. It's beautiful." And their eyes were affected, because they even said, "Let me see your eyes."
They still had the markings.
Yeah, they had the markings, so their eyes were affected. So they were seeing something, and I doubt they were all seeing the same thing also.
I don't know. They said that they could see their true form. I think I read a synopsis of the book as well, and that was the actual thing, is these people could see their true form and just loved it. They wanted to worship it, and they wanted everyone else to worship it too. Like they became like immediate like acolytes of these fucking like madness demons. I guess that's what we could call them.
Yeah, I think you're right. I think everyone saw something different, so it would be hard to portray a beast creature that would be different for each person. You could still show what they saw, right? Maybe you could show what they saw, but I don't think you could truly show the creature itself.
Even A Quiet Place showed me the monster, and it was fucking awesome. Like, that's what I'm talking about. Like, you don't have to like, I don't this like keeping it like, that's lazy to me. It's nothing. It's
but
whatever.
Yeah, but some people fear that
it's a
more. You know what I mean? Some people don't want to see a monster. Some people like have the fear of nothingness, right? So that
ridiculous. I win.
When they showed her running through the woods at the end and the trails of wind and everything following after, I was like, "Oh shit, it's velociraptors!"
It's just, to me, giving it like some kind of like truly alien and horrific form lends even better credence to me, because like it's something your brain couldn't have imagined, because it's just so fucking. Like it could be anything. It's just so unperceivable.
Absolutely. I think for some people they want that, but I also think for some it's fun to have that imagination with it. Like for me, it was enjoyable not to see it. Like I didn't want to see. I never had an urge to see the creature. Like it was never important for me. Like I just knew that I could see how the people reacted, how sad they were, how crazy they looked, or whatever. I could almost interpret from their own, in mind what it might be for them. Like one woman says she sees her mother, like, "Mom, please don't go." And she tries to follow her. And
she just walks right into a burning car,
right?
Sits down at the steering wheel of a burning car.
Whoa.
And they show it.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm saying. Like, and I agree with Phil, like the scarier part at one point becomes the crazy people, because they're just like we were saying, the spirits or the whatever creatures they are, they will mimic to taunt and to get them, where the crazy people can be deceiving. Like they'll play that they're somebody else, or that they're cool and everything, to get your trust. And then they show him
violent.
Yeah, this guy that comes into their house, and Malkovich in the very beginning puts a shotgun in his face and he's like, "Get out." Every time we have any kind of interaction with somebody outside of our group, it brings death. Get out. And the rest, like the house is like, "No." This old lady hits him on the head with a jar, like, "No, you're done." And so they let this guy stay. And sure enough, he's crazy, to the point that during labor or childbirth of these, he comes in, he starts pulling all the blinds down. He takes this old lady and peels her eyelids open and makes her look. And you see, like, she just gets scared, and finally her eyes glaze over. She takes a pair of scissors and just gouges them right into her own neck. And they show it.
I don't, the gore porn for me is not a selling point. No. Like I'm cool with like special effects and stuff.
Effect, like I like effects. I like special effects, especially when they're good. So like,
I would rather have seen a really clever and unique creature than a bunch of people stabbing themselves and like throwing themselves out of fucking windows. You know what I'm saying? Like, I get where you're coming from. Like, it's an interesting take, but it's like not. It's just it feels cheap.
No, to me, because that's the actual fear that we as the viewer have. That's what we relate to. That's what we're like, that would suck. I don't want to go out that way. I don't want to feel that pain. Like a made up creature just boogity boogity. I didn't.
But that's
not what
the
this
plot
movie
is.
was.
So
To
it
me.
is an oogity boogity. That's the point.
This wasn't an oogity boogity movie, though.
But okay, so that's the problem, though. That doesn't know what it's trying to be. That's where we're getting to my biggest negative with the film. Is this film is the worst half of The Happening, an M. Night Shyamalan film, and the 10% of the best parts of A Quiet Place. Like, it promises you a quiet place, but you get The Happening. Like, there's monsters, they're invisible, they're fucking like demons and shit. We're not going to show you. By the way, they make you go goo goo in the head. Like, woo. Like, that's not, it's cheap, and it's like stealing from so many different fucking like source materials, and it's just, and there's no payout. Like, if you don't steal from like 4 different fucking people and like throw it at me like you just made pizza, and then you're like, no, I'm taking that back. Fuck.
But then they show a creature and it doesn't meet your expectations, or you then go, this was exactly A Quiet Place. That would have been A Quiet Place, just don't look. A visionless place. A sightless place. Like, it had to be different. It had to be its own. And like, I really enjoyed the fact that it was something that us as humans, our internal fear of death and not being able to do anything about it at all. Just don't look. Which, one of my gripes was they all the survivors run into this house as it's happening. Like, it is happening in this moment, and it takes them 5 minutes to be like, oh, don't look at him. How the fuck did you figure that out in 5 minutes when you have no clue what's going on out there? Some dude's just like, oh yeah, just don't look.
I feel like there's a much higher percentage of sight people with sight that survived this apocalypse than there really would have been. I think a lot of people have been hanging around in their like living rooms, like with their doors locked and like barricading like shit. And they're like, oh God, what's happening? And then they just look out the fuck. I'm like, is there a cop car I'm hearing? Oh, I'm insane. Nobody's going to start like boarding up their windows and shit. Like half the people die on the road or in transit, like via airplane. Like a lot of nobody's surviving this shit.
Oh,
unless
that
you're already
been a cool
blind.
Scene showing what happened in an airplane.
Nobody called me. Anyway.
Well, they would have had to been inside the airplane, which they weren't going inside of things.
But could you imagine like an airplane full of people just rioting?
Yeah, I mean, if they had their windows open and whatever it could be,
I'm sure it can fly. It's a madness demon. It can fly, sure.
Yeah. Well, it had to, because when the crazy guy peeled her eyes open, they were on the second floor of that building.
Yeah, the cruelty of the insane people like is the better part of the film for me, because I'm not scared of the literal boogeyman is coming to get you plot. I'm scared of the people who worship the literal boogeyman are coming to get me.
And they could be right next to you. Like you wouldn't know it unless you look in through their eyes.
And they'll fucking kill me if I don't look. They will literally try to kill me if I don't look. I'll just do it for them. Like, that frightens me, because I can't see. I gotta be blind or I'm gonna go mad when these people like come after me. So they already have a massive advantage of me. That, to me, I would have shit my pants. I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. Bye, blindfold. Better to die. Better to go crazy.
Yeah. So she is, to get towards the end, she is on her way to what they find out is a compound. So they're using a ham radio, and her and this other survivor, Tom, he pretty much is her love interest now at this point and helping her raise these kids. And he's like on this ham radio, and this guy named Rick in a apocalypse says, we have a compound. We're at the end of this river. So the easiest way for you is to get in a boat and come down the river, and you'll know where we are, because when you get past the rapids, you'll hear a shit ton of birds, because they know about the birds also. All the birds go crazy when they're nearby, so they use it like an alarm system.
Okay.
So as they're getting ready to leave, the crazy people show up, and they're like, we're just going to rip your blindfolds off. So Tom sacrifices himself to the crazy people, like shooting them and going down, and she gets on the boat.
With the two kids.
And let's not forget about fucking like Deliverance crazy person in the water.
Yeah.
Who tried to pull the kids out of the boat and make them see.
Yeah. So as she's going down, there's just some guy who's been cuckoo bananas. So he's like, you got to look. And he's wading out into the water trying to peel their blindfolds off.
So he's cuckoo bananas and like Deliverance?
Yes. Extra cuckoo bananas.
Yeah. Squeal like two piggies for me.
Mm-hmm.
So, Obviously, they end up making it.
That was like the worst lead up to the end of the movie ever.
Well, no,
that's
like
so they obviously end up making it.
That's the fucking dickiest like spoiler.
No, because that itself is not like they're not gonna not make it. Come on,
they could have not made it.
You never know.
While they're
you didn't talk about any of the stuff they
make it through. They make it through the river. When they get out of the boat,
you even missed a whole scene.
What, the rapids?
No,
it's not. I mean, the scene in the forest when they're all running up.
Yeah, that's
towards
even
the
before that. Even before that, they get to it. So at one point, they hit something, and a kid falls out of the water.
Okay,
in which she miraculously can still find him blindfolded and pick him back up and put him at the boat. Whatever, fine.
sure.
But he's now freezing, and they lost all their food and blankets on the way, so now they're fucked. Right? This is like a 48-hour journey. It's not like a couple minutes down the river bend or whatever that Pocahontas song is.
Just around the river bend.
It's literally like
it's a 2-day journey down the river.
Yeah, so they're down there, and so he's freezing now in cold water and not have supplies. She hears a wind chime, so she like pulls over, to like go to the wind chime. Well, then she finds the house, and of course the demon things are there. And then one of the kids gets out of the fucking boat and starts wandering off. Because, of course, why wouldn't a kid just wander off randomly?
As you do when you're 5 years old.
Right. But at least the kid was smart enough to put a rope around herself. So, like, because they use fish line to, like, lead themselves when they leave places to find a way back kind of thing. And so, like, she, like, wanders off. She's about ready to touch one of the demons, and Sandra Bullock yanks on the rope and pulls her back. Woo! Cool. And for that scene, I kept wondering the whole time, like, why would you not just take the kids with you and stay at this little shack and try to like be warm and like, survive a little bit longer? So all right, I found some shit. We're going back on the boat. Let's go.
Logic in a horror movie is non-existent.
Right. Not at all. But then like Andy was saying, as
he eloquently said,
there was almost a Sophie's Choice moment in this movie.
Okay.
Almost. Like, so like the guy tells Rick tells her, you can get to the rapids, someone's going to have to look, because there's no way you can like get through these rapids without
trying to steer your way through.
You have to be able to see, so something's going to happen. You have to look.
I guess they had some people die on them before.
Right. So she gets that. She's like, as they're coming to the rapids, she's like, well, we get to the rapids, talking to the kids, and these kids are like 7 years old, like not very old.
Like 5 or 6. It's 5 years later.
Yeah.
So
it's probably 5. So they're like, she's like, okay, when we get to the rapids, one of you's gonna have to look. And she's like, I can't look, because if I look, we won't make it. Because if something happens to me, you little kids are not gonna steer this boat and get out of here. So like, and one's her kid, and one's obviously the other woman's kid. And her kid keeps offering. He's like, I'll do it. And she's like, no, I'll decide. So like, we almost had a Sophie's Choice moment. She was like, okay, I'm gonna pick. And then she was like, no one's gonna look.
She's like, we'll just go blind.
We'll just go blind.
Like, hold on, we're going to go blind.
All right.
So that was another, like, my suspension of belief was like, how the fuck are they going to get through?
And they almost don't. They end up capsizing in the rapids, but it's near the end of it, so they just come kind of. So she's able to like get all like her shit back together. The kids have like little like bells from bicycles, so they could ring them, so she could hear them, and she gets them, and she gets into the woods, and this is when that more mental aspect from the creatures now start coming up, because they're mimicking that Tom guy that was like her love interest, and they're like, I'm right here, just take your blindfold off, like, come on, do it. And she's running. She gets separated from the kids at one point. They start ringing their bells again. She pleads for the girl to come back.
Well, then it starts talking to the kids, using the mom's voice, saying, it's okay, take your blindfold off, I'm here, take it off, it's okay. And they're like, wait, I thought you said it wasn't okay. And then you hear, and Sandra Bullock character can hear them talking to her, and she's like, don't you fucking touch my kids, like she's going crazy. But like then eventually they hear her talking compared to them talking.
No, you're right.
So eventually they all come back together, and yay. And then they get chased by the velociraptors to the woods.
And then it ends happily-ish.
That is what is up for debate. So they do get to Rick's compound, and they are let in. And of course, the people in there immediately like pull their blindfolds up and look at their eyes to see if they are just crazy people that have been out there. They deem they're all clear, and she then comes to realize that she is at a school for the blind.
Oh, all right.
So it's a bunch of blind kids there.
Yeah. So they are taking people with vision in as well, and they pretty much are like, we use the birds for alarms, and if you have...
There's no windows.
Yeah, there's no windows. So, but they don't show if they're farming or...
Oh, yeah, they had gardens and shit inside.
They had an inside...
atrium.
Like atrium, like where the kids were running around in grass, but I didn't see any. He
says over the radio in the film when they're listening to the radio and they hear his like offer, he tells them like, we have a renewable source of water and food. We have a water recycler. We grow our own food. We can sustain. Like he basically like promised all that. So I mean it's implied that they do have those things. It's
okay.
But yeah, it pretty much ends there. She calls the children boy and girl throughout because she's never wanted attachment. She does not want to be attached to anybody.
That's just depressing.
Yes.
She doesn't even want them getting attached to shit. So she's like raising them, like, don't even tell them like stories or hope.
Tom tried to tell a story about climbing a tree when he was a kid, and she raged on him, like, do not give them any hope at all. They will never climb a tree. They'll never.
Wow.
Yeah.
Because at this point, there's no way you can go outside.
Right.
Yeah.
That's bleak.
Yeah. You can't go outside. You can't like see things. You can't like play. There's no like fun.
Right.
But inside the blind school, they can take their masks off and they can like
there's other children.
There's kids there. They had like a small community. They were like social. It was a social compound of like survivors. And I don't know. I didn't see anyone like trying to pull a Mayer or a Negan.
No, it was simply there was the one guy, like I said, from Constantine that was the priest that had shaky eyes. He plays in a lot of horror movies because his shaky eyes freak people out.
The guy who drowns himself in the liquor store.
Yeah,
you can't see me, but I'm shrugging my shoulders.
Yeah, but he's like the leader and he's blind. Like it, literally. That's the end. They all go to this compound. Kids go off and play, and she's happy and lets her birds free and.
Yeah, there's a fuck ton of birds too, like just nesting. It's like a beautiful like tree.
Yeah,
indoors.
So like the trees have grown over like this natural dome.
So it's the birds, but not creepy.
Yeah, exactly. It's like a nice version, like I think like a Disney movie.
So it did have a happy-ish
ending.
Apparently, the book is a little more bleak. It has that same scenario. She gets to the school for the blind, but most of the people that are there now that were saved and they had vision have intentionally blinded themselves because they would rather live in a world of darkness than the fear of seeing
the fear of dying at any point.
Yeah.
I mean, I have a question about the cast because I recently just went over the cast list and we got Sandra Bullock, Academy Award winning actress, John Malkovich, probably been up for Academy Awards, I'm going to guess. Sarah Paulson, multiple Emmy and Golden Globe winner. And then we have Machine Gun Kelly.
He doesn't play a big role.
I imagine he didn't.
But he's in
Machine Gun Kelly.
Yeah, he's in the original house and like literally he's there and he's there when Sandra Bullock's character Arthur gets there. He's kind of a pill popper, whatever.
Shocking.
Right. And he falls in love with the police academy girl and they run off.
They steal the car.
They
car
stole
that they
the
actually
car full
realized.
of food.
Yeah, they stole the car. That was it. Like they're gone. We don't know what happened to them. If they dead, died, whatever. They're gone.
Good. I mean, Machine Gun Kelly gets like 2 minutes of screen time, it sounds like.
Yeah,
I'm all right with this.
Yeah. They bang.
They do bang. They show it.
Ooh.
They bang.
They bang. She bangs. She bangs.
Never ever do that.
Man. That's
banging away on Darla.
That is the wrong Ricky Martin song to sing. And that is Ricky Martin.
I know. Why is it the wrong one? He was banging, so they bang.
Okay. We'll talk to you after the show.
Yeah.
I don't understand.
Oh. So Sandra Bullock is probably one of the best things about this movie.
Okay.
She had a solid performance.
Yeah, I was going to ask, like, how was the acting cheesy? Was it actually well done?
It was not
acting
cheesy at all. I never felt cheese.
No, it was really good. Like the production value, the acting, everything was top notch especially for a Netflix original.
Okay, good. Yeah, making fun of Machine Gun Kelly was my lead-in to asking the question.
I don't really like the way I really like the God damn it, it's like Bright. I like the premise. I don't like the execution. Like, here you had like this really rich like idea to work with, and you went like, no, you fucking just trailed out like, ooh, son.
Yeah, I mean, it also sounds like it didn't. What Phil said was like it didn't know what it wanted to be at some points.
Yeah,
it's just really scatterbrained with its like genre stealing.
I didn't understand the point of like making the other people see it and go crazy, not kill themselves. Like that to me, that had no weight in the movie. Like I was like, that doesn't matter. Like what's it like? What do you mean? Some people are not like they're not sad. They're so crazy. People can't get sad. Like
yeah, I mean,
it just didn't make sense to me.
No, I mean, it was just something about brain chemistry. It was like it was implying that these were people that had like actual like chemical.
See, I took it as they've experienced so much trauma, especially the ones who are extremely crazy, the schizophrenics. They've had so much trauma already to their brain, and they've felt so much despair and everything as they're alive that once this comes, they're like, this is every day. This is another day, and there's something really cool here now, making all the normies off themselves. This is awesome.
This guy's telling me to make people look at him. I think they should. He's pretty cool. I think that's an important message. Though.
No, I get them. I just say for the movie itself, you could have gone with just like
everyone just dies.
Yeah, you didn't need that extra element. Yeah, there was no reason to add an extra threat to it.
I liked him as an extra threat. I did.
I think it's the bigger threat, and I think what they're trying to say is like, here's this invisible. Yeah.
They're more the physical, because the creatures don't cause the physical. They could physically come up and rip your blindfold off and be like, "You're going to look at this."
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what you're saying. I'm just saying, for me,
they take your choice away.
You could have picked, one or the other. You could have gone like the real threat was all of these people the whole time, or like you could have gone with just the psychological threat.
Well, and think of it this way, Sweeney. What's more frightening, the dictator or the millions of people who blindly serve them? I mean, one guy can't do shit, but like if everyone else is like, dude, you got to see this, see it, or I'm going to make you see it. And there's like 50 of them. You're like,
Right. But this was like literally like you saw it, you literally died. It wasn't like if you see it, you can't think for yourself and like choose.
They're choosing. No, they're like, they want to do that. I mean, it says so in the book as well. Like these people become like behooven to the entities.
Oh, no. I'm saying like the normal people. Like if I had your dictator example, if I looked at a dictator here, what he's saying, I can still choose, be like, that's bullshit. I don't care. But literally,
these people have no choice.
If I look at it, I'm gonna die. Like that's the difference. Like to me, not I mean the normal person, not the crazy person.
So like let's stay on the crazy person's mind. The crazy person, when they see the monsters, cannot choose not to worship.
I know that. I was talking about, you gave me an example of dictators saying either go to the dictator or these people are going to force you to go. And my counter argument was, yeah, you force me to go, I can still look at them and not agree.
But that's what the blindfolds signify. Like people, you can choose not to look. You have that
take
power.
Your choice away.
But these people want to take that choice away from you. Like it's the only thing keeping you alive, and they want you to like literally just test it. Just do it. You're doing it. You're going to die or you're going to be crazy.
Right.
It's one of the two. They can physically break into your house while you're sleeping. They can just sneak in. They can like hunt you. They can trick you. They want to.
I guess we're opposite. Where my fear is I can counter real people. I can't counter the supernatural.
I get that too. I see where you're coming from on that. You can just shoot the crazy people.
I can just shoot crazy people.
But they're armed also.
Right. Oh, absolutely. But that's a physical threat. I can deal with the physical. For me personally, I can deal with a physical threat. I cannot deal with a psychological
threat.
How
awesome was it that one of the schizophrenics was the schizophrenic from The Dark Knight?
Yes. Same one. I thought it was the same guy that tried to shoot the mayor.
I was like, he's still schizophrenic.
Jim. Tried to shoot Jim.
He lived through the apocalypse because he's schizophrenic.
He's pigeonholed. Right? He's pigeonholed into the same kind of acting roles.
Like, we need a schizophrenic. How about that schizophrenic over there?
You're kind of sweaty all the time and really, really thin. Like, you might be crazy. I got a film for you. Come over here. forever. I think it was his character from The Dark Knight. He just
it was
ran
almost
out of
identical, same hairstyle.
They were from Arkham.
Yes,
There's
They were
also
from Arkham.
the criminal insane asylum up the road.
Arkham.
Yeah, I know exactly what you're talking about. I saw the
So it
IMDb
was the
page up.
Scarecrow.
We've cracked the case.
Same universe.
You're
did
welcome, everyone.
Got it.
Dr. Crane.
Ichabod.
No.
Jesus.
So
this just felt really unoriginal to me. The whole thing just felt like I've seen this before.
There was no originality to it, but it was a suspense movie to me, and I was on suspense. Like,
Yeah.
I felt like
It was a good
I
suspense
felt it,
movie. Like
yeah.
it was for what it was trying to be. It was good. It wasn't trying to be any. It wasn't trying to be an Academy. It wasn't trying to be like anything crazy good. It was literally trying to be. Hey, here's another suspense thriller you can watch. It might have pulled from other places, but the same premise is it's a thriller.
right.
It's a thriller.
I mean, it got to me right after it ended. It was about 10:30 last night. You know, here in Columbus, we have a wind advisory right now, and you know we were telling you the creatures like wind shows it. So I take my oldest dog Pippa outside, and I'm trying to get her to pee, and she's doing this like I need to find the perfect spot. So I'm just going to walk, and I'm standing by a pine tree. The wind picks up and it makes that sound through the pine tree. I was like, fuck it. Inside. You can shit on the carpet tonight. I don't care. Go inside now. Or you're looking. I'll make you look.
And it definitely plays on like that what you can't see like genre of like you know, like
that seems to be probably the next genre of suspense of just take away one of your senses.
right.
Yeah.
How do you think people that actually don't have this sense in real life feel about these movies? I'd be curious.
Like, what do blind people think about this movie?
Yeah, or what do deaf people think of?
I thought it was a cool premise there at the end that the sanctuary would be a school for the blind.
Right.
The blind people are just like, fuck everyone else.
Yeah. And then, give it 6 years and we'll get the parody film written by the Wayans brothers.
Yeah.
So to wrap it up and with my final question to you guys, what would each of you rank it out of 10?
Out of 10?
Yeah.
I'd square root of -5.
Can't take a square root of negative number. Anyway.
So there.
I equals then whatever the number is.
Yeah. Nerd.
Dork.
For me, I would give it a solid 6.
Okay.
It didn't make me roll my eyes at any point. It didn't make me sigh and like, oh my God, seriously. But it wasn't like my attention went elsewhere during the movie. So it wasn't like it was like solid.
So it didn't So it didn't 100% hold you there.
Right. Andy?
Oh, I solid like 7.5.
Whoa.
Because I enjoyed it, but there was some where I was telling you have to suspend a lot of disbelief for some stuff that is supposed to be taking place in like our real world right now.
Right.
So 5. I gotta go 5.
5.
It's a 5.
No, I was gonna say that it looks like people are agreeing with you. On IMDb, it's got its star rating of 6.7 out of 10, and the Metascore critic score is a 52.
Yeah, so it's like a good halfway.
It is. It has some equally good stuff as it has some equally dumb shit.
And I appreciate IMDb showing an ad for BirdBox on its IMDb BirdBox page. Just fucking nail that
watch
home.
BirdBox? Here's some stuff about it.
I have thoroughly enjoyed the memes for this movie.
It's getting annoying. I'm sorry. It is so annoying to me.
I saw one of my favorite ones today. It was 2 people standing at the Salvation Army bucket ringing their bells, and it said "Me on the Holidays," and it showed them blindfolded where she's grabbing the kids and running past them. I was
the only one that I really liked was they had Bert and Ernie in blindfolds. It was BirdBox. I appreciated that.
The one I thoroughly enjoyed, also because he's in this movie, was what Machine Gun Kelly saw when he saw the BirdBox demon, and it was Eminem.
Okay, that's good.
It was good. I enjoyed it. I liked it.
That was good.
All right. Well, I would say if you haven't not watched Bird Box by now, which I'm sure everyone has because it's all over every social media.
If you just listen to this, you've seen it now.
I think they said in the first 2 weeks that 26 million people viewed it, or maybe it's 26 million as of right now.
It was ridiculous. It was like the first weekend of it was, I think it blew everything out of the water. The number of subscriptions that actually viewed this film.
First week was 26 million US subscribers.
Yeah, it was ridiculous.
I mean, I'll say this about Netflix. They have a fuck ton of numbers and they have that data to back up their films. And that's a powerful tool.
And kudos to Netflix. They are putting out original content, which not every streaming service does, right? Few people do. But Netflix has a ton of original content, and it's good. That's good for them because that keeps them relevant. When you could just watch,
I think this was last year that it was this year's. What they already have ready to go was something like 400,000 hours of their own content.
Yeah,
I can tell you firsthand since I've been on paternity leave from
you're watched it all.
There are 6 Netflix shows I could think off the top of my head that I thought were amazeballs. Fucking Altered Carbon.
Yep, Altered Carbon was amazing.
Fucking Maniac.
Maniac was great.
I'm watching Maniac right now.
That's great.
Ozark.
Yes,
love Ozark.
Fucking love me some Ozark. Castlevania anime. They did fucking anime.
Yeah, they do. They're doing everything. Kudos, man.
I mean, it's a company that I think for fiscal year 2019, they said they're spending $8 billion on Netflix project, Netflix,
as they should.
Yeah,
they know
content.
It's not. They don't want to just pay for other people's proprietary items. They want to make their own. And
right.
They're making good stuff.
Remember when you first got Netflix and you chose if you wanted 2 or 3 DVDs mailed to you?
Right.
Now it's as many screens.
Now it's just, here is all original stuff streamed right to your eyeballs.
I mean, yeah, and they're also spending $100 million on just Friends
fucking
for 1 year. Yeah.
But yeah,
fucking Infinity War. They got all the good Marvel movies.
They do have Infinity War on there now, which I was totally surprised how soon it was on there.
Ant-Man and the Wasp is on in a couple weeks too.
This is crazy. It's getting crazy, man. They got all these contracts, and all these other companies are like, we keep paying Netflix, and we don't get a dime of this shit. So that's why you're DC streaming service, FX streaming service.
That's why Netflix right now is cutting their nose just to spite their own face. When Disney Plus was announced, and Disney's all your Marvel shit on there is going to come to us, but Netflix still has the rights for two more years. And Netflix is screw you guys. We're going to cancel everything now, so it just sits there for 2 years and you don't make a dime off of it. Thanks. The fans are the ones that are paying for this little, you don't get it then.
I'm taking my bone. I'm going home. Fuck you, right?
Thanks, guys. So cool.
Adults run company. Adults run.
Yeah, these don't tell me it's because they were suffering. Daredevil was one of their top shows, and they're canceled.
So spiteful.
Get more viewers than Handmaid's Tale. Wow, I can talk. Handmaid's Tale.
Handyman Bob.
Go with take 3.
Take 3.
So Handmaid's Tale is Hulu. And Hulu has some amazing original programming too on it.
Right.
They've got some kick-ass shit. Handmaid's Tale, I get anxiety when I watch that show because it makes me want to go out and just revolution. Stop. We're not letting these people take over. This scares the shit out of me.
I haven't watched an episode.
It's frightening, how real the shit we're seeing today in politics. I don't know, man. You guys, It's Always Sunny. You guys shit that makes you a little uncomfortable because it's just so fucking outrageous.
It's Always Sunny.
You'd like Handmaid's Tale, Andy. I think you and Andy would enjoy it immensely.
It's Always Sunny should be coming back ish.
It just ended a season a month and a half ago.
It better come back. No, yeah, it is. It's January. It just came out. No, it was January of this past year.
No, big guy. It was September, and it just ended in mid-November.
No.
Andy needs to take his medication.
Yeah,
while we're waiting for his
apparently.
bills to arrive. Let's
So-
why don't we do
Anyways.
Hateful, grateful.
Yeah, let's-
Hateful, grateful.
Hateful,
Hateful, grateful.
Yeah.
Put him on the glass.
Bob's away. All right. So it's yours truly this week. Phil will be doing Hateful Grateful. And I came prepared, everybody.
You did it.
I did it. So one of my favorite things in the news that I saw this week was that Disneyland is going to be raising their actual ticket prices by about like 25% before Star Wars Galaxy's Edge launches this year.
Of course they are.
So Star Wars theme park, let's make everybody go into fucking debt so that because your kids are going to demand to go to. You're fucked. Bye, parents.
Yeah, I mean that's just like Disney to jack up prices to.
Yeah.
We already spend like hundreds of dollars a year on your fucking movies, and you're gonna
Because they know it. They know people pay it.
It's
So
fucked
my
up, though.
question is, when is the Hateful Geeks trip to this new Disney Star Wars park?
When my kid can walk on her own.
Because I
will not carry.
I am going to this park.
We're gonna go to this park, so give me 3 or 4 years, bro.
I think, yeah, I think they finally got the rights, or maybe they're finally deciding to do something with Marvel at Disney World soon too.
Yeah, I think they have a Marvel presence there, but it's not in its own like theme section. So I wouldn't be surprised if they do a park for Marvel as well.
I mean, Marvel sort of already has one with the Islands of Adventure.
Right.
Like, there's shit. That's where I got you the Venom T-shirt.
They even have like an ESPN presence in Disney.
That's because
Disney
owns ESPN.
ABC and ESPN. So it is insane. They could literally have little pockets of everyone's favorite fandom.
There's a little Hulk roller coaster. It's fucking fun. It's great. It's cool. Like, you go through the radiation, you get all the gamma rays, and you're like, I'm Hulk, and then you take the dip and you go around the loops.
Actually,
so are we hateful or grateful about like the price?
Yeah,
gouging?
are you hateful or grateful about Disney price gouging fucking people that already spend all their money with them?
I mean, I'm not surprised.
Yeah, right now I don't care
let's
because
face
I'm
it.
not going, so it doesn't personally impact me yet. So I don't care about anybody else. So yeah, don't care.
I'm gonna go with you shouldn't do that shit. Grateful or hateful Disney.
You're already going to make like $10 billion next
Right,
year.
fuck off.
You're fine.
Dick move. All right, hateful. All right.
Yeah.
Andy's so hateful, he just doesn't care. All right, Andy, this one's for you, man. So it's official. Matt Reeves is the Batman in air quotes. That is the title of the film. It's going to start shooting in November of this year. So we're going to start hearing about casting and plot details soon.
I read
Affleck
that today.
Not be involved.
I'm grateful if it happens. We've had so many changes on this film before it's even got its own legs.
There's one more thing, Andy, that I forgot to tell you. It officially is not tying into the current DC cinematic universe.
I didn't read that anywhere today. Because I saw that it still is in the DCEU.
No, sir.
Fuck off. Fuck
No,
off.
Is that a rumor or
No,
substantiated?
that's substantiated.
So,
Fuck off.
is that officially they're just giving up on the DCEU?
Yes.
No, they're still planning like the second Wonder Woman movie and the Flash. Those are still happening.
But you don't have Batman.
You're not going to have
Why?
Affleck.
Why?
Affleck's
No.
off, man.
See, I haven't read that yet. I'm looking right now. I'm not seeing it.
He has to
Yeah.
believe it too.
No,
It's
I'm just
okay.
saying I would like to see because I read something different. I read that it is still in the DCEU and that the premise being kicked around is that it is Batman, like Affleck Batman, kind of saying, here's what happened, like telling a past story. And then they will get a new actor to portray younger Batman, like in his prime for the film.
I read that it is outside of the universe. If that changes or I hear something different, I'll come back to you on that.
So for right now, if it's out of the DC EU, I'm Hateful.
Yes, me too. Absolutely, 100%.
But if you do find something, please show me. I'd like to be corrected. Anyway, okay, cool. So Batman, not DC.
If it's not in the DCU, I don't care. I just don't care.
It makes sense in Dark Knight. We're just doing the Dark Knight over again,
right? Like, we had the Dark Knight series. It was a great series. It was fun. You did it already. What more Hateful. Can you show in that series?
Sweeney's a Hateful. I can say it's burning off you. Fucking
oh, that was loud in my ear.
Holy shit.
I think I peed.
Yeah, the only quote that they have out there of anything official is that they were just saying that the script is in and Reeves is still tweaking it and that they're hearing the studio wants to start shooting in November. So let's say between now and then.
Cool. 10 months. All right.
Yeah, we'll see.
The fact that I have to wait that long to find out if it's not Hateful.
Yeah, right.
Right.
Hateful,
I mean,
come at us with some legit news.
I get schedules and stuff, but like, can we figure out if, Affleck's going to put down the bottle enough to get in this movie? That's probably too hard.
That's why I believe I can believe that premise. If they want to reboot, they want to bring it in. This is the perfect way to segue into that with Affleck going.
Sure.
Here was my year one.
With his fucking terrible ass dragon back tattoo.
Yeah, and then
Google that shit. It's awful.
And then it disappears, and we just go to this new dude.
Sure.
Yeah.
Back in my day.
Back in 1962, Alfred.
I don't even like that premise.
I think if they don't fix the Batman situation and they don't pursue Batman as part of the cinematic universe, they don't have a. I'm a big Superman fan, but they don't have a franchise without the Batman.
They don't have world's, they don't have world's finest. They don't have it.
You've done Man of Steel right. You've done Wonder Woman right. Just third time's a charm, bro. Like you've done hit the hat trick.
Right. It's doing the Avengers without Thor, Cap, or Iron Man.
Right.
You have. You did this. You started this, and you're gonna fucking finish it. Damn it!
You started it with the end. Justice League. What?
Sons of bitches.
Without Green Lantern.
Yeah, like scene.
Green Lantern's off fighting shit in space. He's on vacation right now. He's hanging out on Oa, training new recruits. When he gets back, Coastal City is destroyed by the cyborg Superman and Mongol. And then he goes angry and he kills everyone. That is DC. You're one. You're done.
It's too much, Warner Brothers executive. I don't care.
I'm just saying, like, you have all this fucking plot. You have like stories and stories that go into stories. Why are we not just fucking go, dude? Why are your cartoons better than your movies? What's happening right now?
Right.
I love animation. I'm a fucking anime fan, but their fucking animated movies are better.
Yeah.
Yeah.
By far.
They're really good. They get the fucking Suicide Squad right.
Yeah.
Just trade fucking jobs. Let the guys at the Warner Brothers animated studio, let them make the live action. Just fucking trade. You're making cartoons now, Zack Snyder. No, SpongeBob. All right. Last but not least and this is one that's really close to my heart, actually. You guys remember when we watched Blade Runner 2049?
Yes.
Yeah.
It was a really like amazing visual film. Remember?
Yes.
Yeah.
So the director Denis Villeneuve, same guy who did Blade Runner 2049, is doing a Dune film adaptation.
I can't wait.
Like Frank Herbert's Dune, and Dave Bautista's in it.
I can't wait. I literally cannot wait for this movie.
I'm ready.
Spice must flow.
Give me more.
Yeah, great.
Fear is the mind killer.
Yeah, I can't wait. And I think, why am I drawing a blank on the character's name?
Paul Atreides.
Kyle MacLachlan's character when he was in the original Dune.
Yeah, that's Paul Atreides.
Paul Atreides. Okay, that's he's being played by Timothy Chalamet, who's been up for a couple Academy Awards. Can't wait.
Nice.
I loved me some fucking Frank Herbert, man. I even like some of the shit his son did. It wasn't that good, but it was all right.
I mean, I'm more excited just because Villeneuve's last two movies, especially Arrival and Blade Runner 2049, are gorgeous films. and I can't wait to see what he does with the world of Dune.
I never saw Arrival.
Like he's like a visual auteur. His style is like Guillermo del Toro. He's very it's a real fingerprint, man. Like you can tell when you're watching something by this director. And I'm really excited for what he's going to do with fucking Dune, man. I mean, the original from the 80s with Kyle MacLachlan, the one you referenced with Sting.
Yeah. And
that one's beautiful, but to me is a little I don't. It just doesn't feel right in certain places.
Yeah,
it
it's also right. I mean, it's also a David Lynch film.
Yeah,
like
the fucking director's cut is 6 hours long.
That with Lynch, that doesn't surprise me whatsoever.
Yeah, man. So, are we going to get another 6 hour long?
Yeah.
Because there's a lot of story in the first Dune book. There's a long story, and people don't like Dune. Your Dune fans are particular people. They don't like it when you fuck with their canon. And I mean, Sci-Fi Channel tried to do the miniseries, and it was closer to the plot of the book, but the effects were off.
Or sci-fi, like early 2000s effects.
It was like them on dunes and then like a big like backdrop
right
behind them. It was like you could see it kind of waving a little bit, like, it's not a fucking curtain. That's a fucking curtain.
Yeah, it'll be cut somewhat. I mean, I imagine it'll still be a 2.5.
They'll do a trilogy.
2.5 between 2.5 and 3 hours, because what Blade Runner 2049 was 2 hours and 45 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
Sweeney makes an excellent point here. Dune is a fucking massive sci-fi franchise.
Yeah, they can do a trilogy with it. Why not?
Yeah,
they could do like a 70 if they wanted.
They could do a Harry Potter,
a septum.
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm looking forward to it. I don't think it has any release date or shooting date yet, but I'm very much looking forward to this movie.
I'm grateful for it. I'll watch the shit out of it.
I believe it starts shooting in November.
Oh, okay.
Movember. Andy, are you hateful, grateful, don't care?
I don't think you and I have never really talked about Dune before, have we?
No, I'm not a.
No.
I'm not a. I don't even think I've seen it.
I've
never had any.
Never had any Dune.
No. No exposure to Dune as a child or
right. I'll admit to not reading the book, but I've seen the movie multiple times. But it's been close to a decade since I've seen the movie.
Sweeney, are you a Frank Herberty?
Oh yeah, I will. Yep, that's her. Mm-hmm.
The spice must flow.
The spice must flow.
Fucking this movie also has the potential to. No, actually, you know what? Fuck this. I think this is. I've actually been this excited for a film in a long time.
I'm excited. They're actually, while it's a remake, I guess, of a film that happened in the 80s. I don't really consider it to be like you're not really copying someone else's work in the 80s. It's a huge sci-fi franchise, so you can really do your own thing with it. So I'm not as like critical of this as I have been people redoing like RoboCop or some of the other films that should never been touched again.
You think RoboCop was sacred enough to not get remade?
Don't touch my RoboCop.
No, they should let RoboCop alone. It was fine.
Freeze, dirtbag. Dead or alive, you're coming with me.
Oh my god.
It was good enough. Or Ghostbusters. Like, why did you need to remake Ghostbusters? There's no reason.
I'm not touching that one with a 10-foot pole.
Right.
Right.
It wasn't.
I don't talk about. I don't get involved in Ghostbuster conversations.
I'm just saying, there's some franchises you leave alone.
Franchises, yeah. Indiana Jones.
Right. You leave alone.
Stop.
There was 3. That's all you needed.
It happened, man. It happened. Kingdom of the Crystal Skull happened.
Aliens everywhere.
Fucking Shia LaBeouf.
I'm sorry. They weren't aliens. They were interdimensional beings. You get it right.
Same fucking thing.
Are they alien to our world?
God damn it was a joke. A poor one, but it was a joke nonetheless.
Shia LaBeouf.
Actual cannibal.
Walking through the woods.
Actual research-age Shia LaBeouf.
All right.
He's swinging with some monkey, Shia LaBeouf.
We've gotten to that point of the episode again.
We are
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah, we are what I call circling the drain.
Once Shia LaBeouf is mentioned, episode over.
Well, I think Ryan Gosling should be in Dune as a Sting's character.
I'd be right with that.
From the Lynch version. He should be
Sure.
Fade.
Why not? Yeah.
I'm all right with it.
Crazy, like angry psychopath Ryan Gosling.
Yeah, I don't care. Let's do it.
All right. That's it for my Hateful Grateful, guys. I don't have anything else.
Good job, sir.
Thanks. I did my homework.
Yay! Well,
well, instead of me saying, instead of me saying plug our shit, like, hit subscribe and all of our.
But you just said it.
And tell us what you thought about BirdBox, because apparently this is a very torn room, and we're going to have a side discussion when we're done with this. we're going to pull each other's ears and be like, "What are you talking about, motherfucker?"
But yes, please, like Tim was hinting at, you can find us on all the social medias: Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, YouTube. Please like us, please subscribe, and please comment. We like to talk to you. We have to talk to Annie a lot, and that bothers me. So, I mean, can we just find more people to talk to?
I like Paul. Paul's my favorite.
Yeah.
Paul's my favorite. Paul's my favorite follower.
This reminds me of Yes Man when she's on the stage performing. You can name all of the people in the room.
Patrick.
Thanks for coming, Patrick. Mohan. Like, whatever. Like, yeah. Please.
Thanks for coming.
Thanks, Mom.
All right, now that we've plugged our shit, and I
My
said it
mom
again.
doesn't even listen.
Rough.
Oh, thanks, Mom. Thanks, Obama.
At least my mom hits like on our stuff.
Yeah, she does.
Yes, she does. Your mom comes hardcore with the likes.
Mm-hmm.
Your mom,
I appreciate that. Your mom.
My mom.
I'm giving a like to your mom.
Thanks,
your
Sandy.
mom's cool.
Thanks, Sandy. All right. Now that we've plugged our shit.
Ew.
Our production
get to end every
manager is saying to
episode
wrap
with him
it
saying,
Yeah. Our production manager that we don't pay is telling us to
We
wrap
pay
it
her
up.
with insults.
I mean, she wouldn't even take like footage for us at Dragon Con. She's like, you guys.
You were, Phil asked you to take some pictures at Dragon Con. You're like, no, don't boss me.
Also, a way to bring it up 4 months later. On top of that shit.
That's how we do it.
Anyway.
Put your fucking blindfolds on.
All right.
Dan scene.
Oh, I was going to say for the Hateful Geeks.
Oh yeah, you're right. Oh shit.
Oh,
I forgot.
man.
Oh god, I'm so scatterbrained.
Dude, we derailed. I'm Andy.
I'm Tim. No, I'm not Tim. I'm Phil.
Sweeney's laughing so hard he can't
This
say
is
it.
Sweeney.
And this is Tim.
Good Lord, I'm sorry.
Good night.
Sorry for this ending, folks.
If you've made it this far, you are a true trooper. Holy shit.
That was wonderful.
Bravo!
I loved that.
Oh, it was great.
Well, it was pretty good.
Well, it wasn't bad.
Well, there were parts of it that weren't very good, though.
It could have been a lot better.
I didn't really like it.
It was pretty terrible.
It was bad.
It was awful.
It was terrible.
Get him away!
Hey, boo!
Boo!